Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be Bretonnia led by Sumo facing off against Nurgle, who's going to be helmed by Hadries here on Borderlow Landing, and looks like it is a great unclean one with some Chosen versus some Grail Knights. Very exciting match. We'll certainly see how this one turns out, but I do think that the Great Unclean One is a very good choice these days. Normally a little bit of a liability against archer-centric factions because of, Bretonnian peasants could just pepper him with arrows and really drag him down effectively. But a lot of, I suppose the human factions, archer factions, are a little bit afraid to bring archers right now because of the prevalence of Furies and how OP they are. So after the recent buffs, they're insanely good. So you can get away with bringing the big chungus, in my opinion. Now, looking at the army here of Hadries, it is going to be double Chosen with great weapons, and I don't know where you put those. Here they are, I think. Marauders with great weapons, Marauders, and Chosen. Okay, they're kind of mixed in there, but the Chosen with great weapons for sure are going to be very sustainable against Bretonnian cavalry, and yes, Grail Guardians are elite, sustained fighting units, but man, those Chosen are going to be able to stay, poison them, and grind them down in a fight. So the Grail Knights will have to cycle charge or find more vulnerable targets on the battlefield rather than just sitting and fighting Chosen. And yeah, Exalted Great Unclean One's amazing. He has a Mortis engine, he's a little bit faster than Kugath, so he's more dynamic against the more mobile faction of Bretonnia. And yeah, he has a lot of the same strengths, a little bit squishier, of course, doesn't have the range bombard, but the big Chungus is a solid choice in my opinion. Marauders of Nurgle and Marauders of Nurgle on the other side. Most of the army is invested, obviously, in the Great Unclean One and the big boys. And ooh, look at this sneaky Vanguard. This map's very fun. It has really fun play. But it is going to be two Vanguard Nurglings, including the Frolickers Bubonic. So if Bretonnia gets lazy, maybe send some peasants over here to grab this objective. The Nurglings are probably going to be able to steal it. Now, looking at Sumo's army, and shout out to Chromo's one of our map makers, has made a couple of the maps that we all enjoy on Total Tavern. But it is going to be double Grail Guardian, as well as the Damsel of Life, Alberic, and the battle line is going to be Battle Pilgrims, which will trade very well into the Nurgle Marauders, but will obviously struggle against armor, but that's to be expected, right? Nurgle Chosen are, like, even things that, like, you're like, oh yeah, I have my own Foot Squire to counter your opponent's armor, they're still going to get pounded by Nurgle Chosen. Those things are no joke. Pestigore is going to be the call-in. Not bad. Very vulnerable against charges at 25 MD and low armor, but if they can get engaged in an ongoing fight and not eat the charge, they do very, very well. So it looks like the Grail Guardian's going to be trying to threaten the back objective, and that's a good idea because Hadries currently only has the Marauders of Nurgle as well as some basic Marauders down here to play this objective, and the rest of the Nurgle army is like super slow. So this is a very, very good play here by Sumo, and it looks like Hadries is going to be doing something similar up top, but Grail Guardians, of course, will be harder to stop. Oh, the dreaded double erect charge. These Marauders are going to get it. This actually happened to me about a week ago in the tabletop game. I was playing my Nurgle against some Knights, and yeah, they just got run down just like that too. But those Marauders, oh my god, they just got deleted. Oh, and the Great Chungus is on his way over. He's going to be getting peppered by the Mounted Yeoman here, but overall going to be able to take that like a champion. And those Grail Guardians are like, thanks for the 450 gold, 550, whatever it is. And we're going to be leaving with our goods now. So they have certainly plundered the Nurgle lines. And now here we got the Marauders of Nurgle as well as Marauders and Chosen here. Nurglings to the back do have the capture weight advantage over the peasants, but the Battle Pilgrims do have full cap weight. So this is actually going to flip back to Bretonnia. So what you probably want to do in Hadries' situation is just retreat into the tree line and just hide in the bushes and wait till, to strike later on or, something like that. But man, those Grail Guardians doing the work. They're not going to want to do that to the Chosen. I mean, maybe they could with Alberic. If he gets like a big trident on the Chosen, that could be a really nice alpha strike. Hadries, of course, I would imagine does have some form of healing. He's got, yeah, if you're going to go Chosen and a big SE, you typically are going to want to go with Fleshy Abundance. Otherwise, you can go with the cheaper spells and just spam them to get the lore passive and some battlefield value. But if you have the big boys, you have the Double Chosen and the Exalted Great Unclean One, you're really going to want to make sure you have the tools to heal them up. So middle objective is going to be flipping to Nurgle. So Hadries is going to get that out of the gates. But Sumo's gotten some nice early value on those units. Couple Nurglings in the bushes, battling it out with Battle Pilgrims. The Holy Pilgrims certainly should be able to take down these Nurglings. It'll take a while. Nurglings are tanky for their cost. Frolickers would put up a better fight, and they would probably beat these Men-at-Arms, no problem, those Nurglings. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this flank engagement. Now back to the middle, we do see the Marauders just getting isolated, and Hadries responds with some Hounds. And the Hounds are a good choice. They're going to poison these Knights and make it a little bit harder for them to kite effectively. And now it is going to be a call-in from some Royal Pegasus Knights. Yeah, very, very good mobile play from Bretonnia. They're not taking any hard engagements versus Nurgle. They're not allowing the Chosen and Pestigores to get in sustained combat. They're moving around, isolating prey, and maintaining their value lead. Again, Nurgle does have crazy good healing, and the back point is secured for Nurgle. Some Pestigores going to be camping out on that one. The Grail Knights do manage to catch some of the overextending Hounds, which we're chasing, but the Hounds do apply the poison, and now some Pesties will get into combat, and Pestigores do have great weapons, so they will be able to pound through some of the Knights. Still 50 plus MD on those Grail Guardians is no joke, but they will be able to rout off some of the Knights. and push them back. Not rout them, but, drive them back. Not a single model actually ended up dying there. So the Exalted Great Unclean One in a little bit of danger. Going to get attacked by Alberic, who is an anti-large fighter. Exalted Great Unclean One, is he going to try and run? It looks like he's going to try and pull back to his lines, and the Pegasus Knight's going to be descending from the heavens as well. So really clean charge there. The Exalted Great Unclean One getting the business. 7611 on the HP. Probably going to want a Fleshy Abundance here soon. He does get his big fat bell and is able to drop a nice shot on the Royal Pegasus Knights. Some Maltedium archers providing good support. But this is where if you can get lulled into okay, I have him low, but it's still 6,000 HP, and he's going to be able to do an overcasted fleshy to heal all these marauders. We got Toads in combat versus the Grail Guardians with great weapon support from the Pestigors, and I think we even have a Chosen unit in here. We do. So this is going to rapidly turn bad for Bretonnia the longer they stay in this fight. And it kind of looks like this is an epic shot. We have the Grail Relique with the Battle Pilgrims coming to liberate the Bretonnian Knights here, but yeah, that's not going to be a good fight. The Great Unclean One, he is the sweet siren of Nurgle. He lures you in with his false claims that he's dying. He's the Palpatine here. But yeah, he's able to turn the fight around, lay a bit of a smacking down on Alberic, and now the grind is going to be good. Some of the Grail Guardians do go down. It looks like we took, I think, actually only 2 casualties on those. That's pretty insane. Their durability is next to none. But yeah, they're able to pull back. But yeah, Nurgle grinds through most of the infantry, and now they have Battle Pilgrims and a Grail Relique in combat versus things that are really going to crush them. The Toads are anti-infantry. You see the Tears of Nurgle proc going down, which is going to be slowing the Pilgrims from running away. And the Grail Knights, maybe they're going to go for the back objective. The Grail Guardians, I'm not sure. They could maneuver over here, isolate this weaker position, which it looks like Chromosumo is already doing. The Royal Pegasus Knights descending on the Marauders with the Mounted Yeoman and Knights of the Realm. And then they could threaten Nurgle's back objective if they want to, because this blob fight is not going to go well for Bretonnia. This has Nurgle written all over it. Grail Guardians are taking some serious HP damage, but haven't lost too many models. These ones, I think they've each lost only 1 model, which is very, very impressive. Marauders with Nurgle with great weapons grinding it out. Chosen here at 80 models, so Chosen probably accruing some good value. You can see 800-900 value on them is very, very nice. And hey, look at that. The Nurglings in the back, they defeated the Men-at-Arms, and now they're going to be stealing this point. This is a really, really big moment for Hadri's here, for sure. Chromo does not want to let this happen. He does have some Battle Pilgrims that are on the point, and I think the Nurglings just barely have more capture weight. So it's going to be a while before they get that anyways. But here in the pits, the 2 Battle Pilgrim units getting taken apart, so being sacrificed to the Lady, which I'm not sure how they feel about that. I don't know how. I suppose they're pretty fanatical, right? You can see a Flagellant on the Empire just getting absolutely taken apart by a demon, and he's stoked doing it, right? But I don't know how religiously fanatic the Battle Pilgrims are comparatively. I would wager it's in the family, but it seems like Flagellants in terms of lore and stuff are just insane. But so that they're down to go down for Sigmar, I suppose. But here, Alberic chasing down some of the Marauders, so just getting some safe terror routes here. In the meantime, the Chosen have successfully grinded through the Battle Pilgrims, and the Grail really kept them fighting for much longer than they normally would have. I think it's plus 16. No, it's plus 8. It used to be plus 16 leadership with no melee attack, but they changed it up and made it a little bit. Some people consider it a nerf. I think it's pretty good giving melee attack as well. Oh, we get the Rot Knights being called in. Now, I've only ever been disappointed by Rot Knights since launch. I feel like they're going to get wrecked here really badly. The Royal Pegasus Knights plus the hip. Oh my god, look at the HP. I mean, if they get a Fleshy Abundance right now, maybe they can turn this around. And the Pegasus Knights are going to be taking some damage in return, but that's a ton of anti-large that just has the full initiative on them, right? Toads are coming back. Maybe Rot Knights can heal. They've only lost 7 models. They are grinding some good value out, and now we get the Nurgle Furies, which are really, really strong. Sweeping into the back, and the Furies are going to be descending on Alberic to try and tie him up. Meanwhile, the Exalted Great Chungus is just looking, he's waddling around the playground looking for a friend to play with, and everybody's running from him for some reason. We've all been there. But yeah, the Exalted Great Unclean One, he's trying. It looks like he's going to be hunting down the damsel. She doesn't want to play in his sandbox either. And over on Objective 3, we do see the Bretonnian mobility. We talked about this idea earlier, how they would move over here, and it is going to be the double Grail Guardian on the Pestigor. Pestigors will put a little bit of punch into them. They've gotten about 115 value fighting up into these units, but with the heals that were just used, it looks like the damsel did use the Lore of Life, the Earthbloom. Probably going to be an objective for Bretonnia, which is going to really tax Hadri's. He might actually need to send some Chosen down there, honestly. Otherwise, that could be a really tricky one. On the back point, Nurgling's duking it out, and who's going to win this one? It looks like this objective is firmly controlled by Bretonnia. The Frolickers were very, very low, and the Battle Pilgrims massively outnumber them, 59 against 31. Although their HPs are pretty damn similar. Nurglings, of course, do have a lower model count base and higher HP per model. I don't know, are the Nurglings going to be able to pull this off? These are the ROR ones, and they do have the damage reflection. Okay, and yeah, the passive healing too. That might actually get it for them. Look at these little turd burglars doing great work over here. Now I'm back on objective 2. This one is owned by Nurgle. The Chosen are anchoring this one down with some toads, but it looks like Bretonnia might be able to get an overwhelm here with these mounted yeomen plus the Holy Wardens. Holy Wardens will get massacred by Chosen, but they are full capture weight. In the back, Hadri is going to be resecuring his objective here. This is a really, really good game so far. And the Pestigors and the Hounds easily get the capture weight, and the Grail Guardians have just been an absolute terror this entire game. They're going to be retreating while the Furies chase down Alberic. Alberic is an anti-large character. He still can kill a unit of Furies, but it will take him longer than, like, an anti-infantry character, for example. Great Unclean One's like, all right, well, I guess we're good here. I'm going to report back to the middle. In the meantime, Chromosumo, using his mobility, he's going to be grabbing the middle point here, and you do see this one starting to flip for Bretonnia, but Pestigors do arrive back onto the point, and the Chosen, are they going to be fighting anything? Doesn't look like it yet. I'm sure they will commit to the fight soon. The Holy Wardens are right in front of them, so this is certainly, they're passing their restrain and reform test, and they're just going to be sitting here hanging out. Nurgle's got other plans, but you would definitely want to move forward and start fighting those Holy Wardens. Chosen will crush them in combat. So Marauders here, and here we see the Furies diving into the secondary line, attacking the Yeoman Archers with the Chosen support. So there's another unit of Chosen here still fighting it out. Hound units are going to get flanked. They tried to nibble on the Damsel of Life, but they end up getting charged by the Grail Guardians, so the Grail Guardian's going to give them the business. And this middle point is good, just heavily contested. The capture weight is going to be favoring Bretonnia a little bit, so you can see that little meter going up there. It's very, very slight favoring. It was in the clutches of Nurgle, and maybe if Hadri's can get here in time with the Pestigors and Nurglings, he's going to be able to prevent the capture. We'll have to see. The Great Chungus is going to be heading back towards the middle, and here we have Pestigors hitting on objective 3. And the Rot Knights, hey, they didn't hear no bell. Maybe they got something in store for us. I mean, they did take a huge beating, did a little bit of damage. They are running from Knights of the Realm, which they should for sure just finish off. It looks like they're trying to get to the middle in a bit of a panic, but now, once again, we have a big grind, and Nurgle is probably happy about this. They have a 77 Chosen engaged in combat, Pestigors engaged, a couple Hounds in the back, and the Nurglings were taken care of, so they almost sold this point. But the mounted Yeoman Archers were able to cut them off, so very, very clean play right there. Now back here, we got the big boy. He's getting his bell and dropping a bit of a whooping on them, and it looks like there was some foul magic going down. Oh, it was the Tears of Nurgle, so that's the Pestigors. When a unit routes near them, it basically does like an AoE slow, which is very cool. But Alberic, the mighty Duke of Bretonnia, drinking some fine border low wine and taking down the Plague Toads. He doesn't do magic damage, I don't believe. I don't think so, but is anti-large enough to get the job done. Now the Great Unclean One's in the fight. He's at 2,400 value, despite waddling around a lot of the game. It seems like he has been able to get some decent fights. Pegasus Knights here are going to be going after the Chaos Furies, and the Royal Ones, I believe, do magic damage, so the Furies are going to get crushed, like absolutely crushed by these Royal Pegasus Knights. See if they start to lose some HP, although they're not going to get crushed if a lot of them sit up here and don't fight, so the models need to get down there. A little bit of weird pathing on that building right there. So Chosen, standing under the Exalted Great Unclean One. This is a power combo of power combos, and you can see the entropy of Nurgle spreading on all these units as the Mortis Engine continues to tick away, doing huge damage, probably eclipsing 2,800, 3,000 value at this point. Yeah, he's at 29. You can see his value meter just going up the longer he's in combat, draining down a fair amount of expensive units. Grail Guardians are really pricey. You don't want to get those bad boys hit by a Mortis Engine. You know, their HP is very valuable, and the Mortis Engine pretty much surpasses a lot of their natural defenses. And here comes the Marauders, as well as Plague Toads for the reinforcements, a couple of Hounds for Hadri's, and for for Bretonnia in the back, it's going to be Men-at-Arms with polearms, Men-at-Arms, and Men-at-Arms with shields. So just a tide of bodies to help Alberic and the Knights really get the job done. Grail Guardians, though, fighting the Rot Knights. Rot Knights, will they get the dreaded 800 value? Okay, they've gotten about 800 so far. They're still healing, still fighting. Chosen, though, honestly do well enough against cavalry units, and it's just like that in tabletop as well. Even though Chosen aren't like a unit that's like, oh, has Monster Slayer or Killing Blow against cavalry, whatever. Great opens in tabletop typically can cut through cavalry pretty well. If they can survive the charge and not break and run, then they will give them the business in sustained combat. In the meantime, Grail Relique here, anchoring it down, and the fight continues. The Bretonnians being given some Jesus courage here. No, I would say liquid courage, but that's the dwarves. The dwarves are the ones who drink beer in battle, and it hears them, so heals them, which is pretty hilarious. But a couple Grail Guardians running down the reinforcements, which is good. You don't want them in the blob fight, so let's get value elsewhere. These Royal Pegasus Knights have been freaking awesome, by the way. Up to 2,000 value, because the fact they do magic damage makes them so good. In a meta where Furies are popular, and obviously Nurgle's typically going to have some demons, whether it be, Plague Bearers, Nurglings, Toads, any combination of those various units. Like, having a magic damage unit that's just like fast and hard hitting and can also deal with the mass is very, very good. So Plague Toad's getting eviscerated. Grail Guardian's magic damage also shining through. Hadri's trying to get his reinforcements in, but, you can see the classic RTS principles really shining here. Of cutting off reinforcements, and that's one of the things that I really like about like domination mode, for example, right? Like if you're playing Age of Empires, I'll give you guys a couple analogies. If you're playing Age of Empires and you're longbow rushing your opponent, You have a steady stream of longbows and maybe a couple spears heading to their base to pressure them, maybe build a tower, whatever. A good player is going to get horsemen, and they're going to cut off the longbows and root the ones that are isolated, pick them off, and take pressure off the siege and make sure they can't get a critical mass to kill you, right? Company of Heroes, for example, you can lay landmines on the retreat path of units. You can intercept their units before they get to the front line with your mobility and your vehicles and your light vehicles. Lots of stuff like that in RTS games. And here it is also the case in this game as well. Not as much in this game, but it's definitely applicable. So Nurgle is holding on to the middle, man. Those Chosen are not going anywhere. We see 65 Chosen of Nurgle here, backed up by some Pestigors looking extra stinky. Now they're going to be heading after the Men-at-Arms as more Pestigors do arrive, and looks like they're going to be taking a fight versus the Men-at-Arms as well. And Bretonnia looks like they've gotten the idea to go for the back objective again. And this is a really close one. Like Hadri's is up, but it is just a razor close game. And this one could flip if Bretonnia manages to capture this objective quickly. They could potentially win the game just holding those 2 points. Because I don't believe it's a triple cap situation quite yet. It's getting very close, though. Very close. Well, yeah, it's actually going to be dodgy. That'd be something I'd like CA to add, like a meter that says who's going to win and how much time based on the current objectives. I think that'd be very helpful for newer players. Something like that would be incredibly cool. So yeah, Pestigors get crushed by the Grail Guardians once again. Alberic de Bordelot going to be pulling up in the sky, and Bretonnia does have its clutches on that objective. On objective 1, we do see Bretonnia owning that one. Nurgle pretty firmly in control at this point. The Pestigors and the Chosen, I don't think are going to be relinquishing that one easy. Although Bretonnia does start to flip the capture rate a little bit. Okay, maybe it's going to get a little cheeky here. The big man's going to be heading to the back, and we do see the Great Unclean One. He's going to be waddling up to the point. He does drag down some of these units. And at this point, does Bretonnia commit to fighting the Chungus? You know, just charging with some Knights of the Realm or something? Ooh, look at that. Curse of the Slug going down. But the Hounds still do get headed off by the Mounted Yeomen. So the Knights signal to the Yeomen. They're like, stop those dogs! And they do stop them. Then the Knights, despite being cursed by Nurgle, are going to be able to catch their prey and claim their prize. So back on objective 2, Nurgle still duking it out. And the fair Knights of Bretonnia, the sons and daughters, we do have a damsel here, are fighting tooth and nail to try and get this point. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get it away. That's a lot of units, although these pesties are surrounded. And Bretonnia does have a fair amount of mobile capture weight via the Mounted Yeomen. And every time Nurgle maneuvers to defend one of its side objectives, you know, the Grail Guardians are able to come back. And this is actually an opportunity maybe for the Grail Guardians to finally break a unit of Chosen. These Chosen are kind of low. And yeah, I think it's going to be an alpha strike. So we do see the Grail Guardians given the order to charge into the elites. And this could be the time they break. Chosen are not immune to psychology, and now they're going to get rear charged. And the Grail Guardians do have a respectable charge bonus. It's not like Grail Knights, but they have really good sustained AP. And you can see the Chosen taking big casualties, big HP losses as they lose about 500-600 HP in a matter of seconds on that charge bonus. But their leadership holding firm, which is insane. They've gotten 3,200 value this game. Absolutely savage. I wish Elite Infantry were that good in tabletop. They tend to just get run over by monsters and things like that, which is a little bit sad, but I would definitely like to see it. But Alberic fighting the big man, going for the Great Unclean One, and Bretonnia does manage to steal the objective, breaking that Chosen unit. And the Pestigors over here also got broken. Bretonnia is on it. Now, is Hadri's going to be able to get this? Oh, God, it's so close. Oh, man, I'll be able to tell you in just a second. But looking at the point here, the Great Unclean One's going to be wrestling it out. And, okay, so Bretonnia will barely win this, if I'm not mistaken. They're literally going to win by 1 point. Like 1 or 2 points if they hold this. It's going to be so close. What a great match. What a great match. This is super good. So Alberic's getting smashed up, though. And all that Nurgle needs to do is recapture the point for just a moment. But Nurgle doesn't have a lot of capture weight here. And we do see Chromo Sumo kind of chilling with a fair amount of Battle Pilgrims, Holy Wardens. Nurgle's definitely going to need to rally its Chosen over here and get them back on the point to fight in the fourth quarter. Trying to get some reinforcements up, but the Royal Pegasus Knights are going to be intercepting those. Hadri's probably manually microing them to try and force them up onto the point. I think Chromo Sumo realizes that he's going to win by like 1 point here, but the Exalted Great and Clean One, he didn't hear no bell. He's at 5,000 value, man. He's got that bell. He's been doing work. And obviously, Bretonnia had a lot of expensive units that have been forced to kind of fight him at various points in the game. Alberic does get routed. Oh man, Alberic needs to rally, because if Bretonnian leadership falters, there's going to be a decent chance that Hadri's is going to be able to retake this objective, although I love this play. This is really good. Using the Yeomen as well as the Pegasus Knights. And here on the back point, we do see a unit of Knights of the Realm battling it out. Hadri's having to leave a lot of capture weight back here to deal with that. And the Great Unclean One is wavering. He's at 1,700. He is at 6,000 value almost. But yeah, Knights of the Lionhearted are magic anti-large. And Grail Guardians just hit hard and have magic damage too. So the physical resist of the Demon isn't going to be helping him. He's going to be relying explicitly on his HP and his armor, and that is going to be a crumble right there. And the brave sons and daughters of Bretonnia, oh my god, look at this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my prediction was correct. Yeah, it is. Just barely, right? Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, I was right. I think I was right. Okay, it's not my first rodeo. Yeah, man. Bretonnia wins by by 1 point. Oh my god. What an insane match. Well played, man. They both played so well. Like the Chosen anchoring was super cool. 1800, 3200, 6000 on that big man. Rot Knights, I bet you, if I know Hadri's well, and I bet you after the game he was like, those Rot Knights lost me the game. Because like that's how I always feel when I bring them out. It was so close that like all you needed was one unit to come in and perform. And it sure as hell ain't going to be Rot Knights, at least in my experience. Although, considering they ate such a bad charge, I suppose they grinded well. And for Chromo, man, his micro was godlike on his cavalry. 27, 28. Alberic did good at 1800. Pegasus Knights 3300. His cap play was really impressive, like super impressive. Top tier players, love seeing him fight and hope to see him playing in tourneys. All right, that's it. Take care of yourself. See you around, and for the lady.